All right, today we're jumping into some truly incredible stories, tales that are centuries old. We're talking about a revered saint whose faith was said to be so powerful, so pure, that it could literally split mountains, command the skies, and even tame the most terrifying monsters you can imagine.
So let's set the scene. You have to picture it. We're going back about 700 years, to the land of Sind. And this was a really dark time. It was a place where the powerful just absolutely crushed the weak, and a shadow of injustice pretty much covered everything and everyone.
And that really brings us to the big question for today, doesn't it? Can the faith of just one person actually change the world? Well, into this land of complete despair walked a figure who was about to put that idea to the test.
Now, you gotta understand, this traveler, he wasn't a king, or some great conqueror, or even a wealthy merchant. No, he was a dervish, a man who had turned his back on worldly things. His name was Shahbaz Qalandar, and his mission, his only mission, was to guide a lost people back to their creator.
Okay, so let's get into the first of these tales. This one kicks off with a caravan that is hopelessly, completely lost in the treacherous, unforgiving deserts of Makran.
And listen, this was not just any caravan. We're talking about it being loaded down with priceless silks, gleaming gold, precious jewels, the works. The merchants in charge? Oh, they were totally blinded by their own wealth. They were convinced that with enough money, they could buy any path in the world. That is, until they found themselves trapped by these impassable walls of stone with the sun just beating down and their water about to run out.
So in their desperation, the leader of the caravan spots the dervish just meditating quietly, just oozing pride. He walks right up to him. He figures this poor man can be bought, right? So he mockingly demands a path and basically says, "Name your price."
But here's what's so interesting. The saint doesn't get angry. He doesn't meet their arrogance with more arrogance. Instead, he gives them this profound lesson, his voice totally calm but so powerful. He tells them, look, the path isn't found with coins. It's found with sincerity and prayer.
Well, the merchants just scoffed at this. They literally laughed, thinking he was just some rambling madman, and they went to sleep. But as the very first light of dawn broke, a terrifying tremor shook the entire valley. And right before their stunned eyes, the massive mountain in front of them just cleaved in two, like it was sliced by a giant sword, revealing a perfect, clear path forward.
So let's move on to the next story, because you can see how this all starts to build. After leaving the desert, the saint gets to the city of Saywan, and this place, well, it was suffering under a totally different but just as destructive kind of evil.
The situation here was just desperate. I mean, the city was in the grips of a drought that had lasted for years. The earth was cracked open, mothers were weeping over their thirsty children, and all the while, their cruel ruler, a guy named Raja Chowpat, he just sat in his palace, not only ignoring their suffering, but actually mocking it. So, as the saint starts helping the people, his influence starts to grow, and of course, this makes the king furious. He marches down to the saint's camp with his whole army and issues this public challenge, just sneering at his faith and demanding a miracle right then and there. The saint doesn't argue, he doesn't raise a sword, he just raises his hands in prayer, and almost instantly, the clear blue sky just fills with dark, heavy clouds. A torrential rain starts to fall, and you can just imagine the people of the city erupted in joy, dancing in this life-giving downpour. But here's the real miracle. While the entire city was getting drenched, every single parched field getting soaked, not one single drop of rain fell on the king's palace or any of his personal lands. Over there, just dust, swirling in the wind as justice was delivered from the heavens. Now, this final story, it's maybe the most terrifying of all. It takes us deep into the mysterious forests of Qaibidera, a place that wasn't ruled by a tyrant, but by pure, primal fear. You see, the terror of this whole region was a monstrous serpent. It was so enormous that people thought it was an ancient jinn in disguise. They said its hiss alone could cause trees to wither and die, and its body carved a path through the forest like a canal. But its most horrific crime? It stole innocent children from the village, forcing everyone to lock their doors in absolute terror the second the sun started to set. One day, the monster strikes again. It snatches a young Hindu girl. Her mother, just mad with grief, runs to the saint and falls at his feet. Through her tears, she pleads with him, asking if he could really rescue her child from the very jaws of death. So the saint walks directly to the beast's dark cave. He doesn't bring a sword, he only brings his staff, which he strikes on the ground. And with a voice that seemed to shake the forest itself, he commanded the serpent in the name of God to stop its evil. And in that moment, this monster that could level mountains just collapsed before him. Its rage was gone, replaced by tears.
Just try to imagine the scene. The villagers, hiding in their homes, peeking out to see the saint calmly leading their greatest fear back through the village, like it was a tame pet. He returned the child completely unharmed to her weeping mother. And the family, after seeing this impossible act, embraced a faith that could conquer death itself.
So, these three incredible stories, the mountain, the rain, and the serpent, they've been passed down for over 700 years. And while they're all very different, they each point to a single, powerful, and unifying message.
You see, the moral of these miracles is really a timeless lesson. The splitting of the mountain, that shows us that sincere faith can absolutely shatter human pride. The targeted rain, well, that demonstrates that it can deliver divine justice right where it's needed. And the taming of the serpent proves that faith can conquer our deepest, most monstrous fears. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? These stories, they're ancient, but the themes are as relevant as ever. It really makes you wonder, what are the modern-day mountains of arrogance, the tyrants of injustice, and the monstrous fears that challenge our own convictions today?